Have you ever noticed something strange? You can want something badly, a new project, a new life, a new habit, a new version of yourself, and still not start. Not because you don't care, not because you're lazy, but because something invisible stops you. And most people think that invisible thing is fear of failure, but often it's something deeper. It's fear of being seen trying, fear of being watched, fear of judgment, fear that if you begin, you'll lose the protection of potential. Because when you haven't started yet, you can still imagine, I could be great at this. But once you start, reality enters. And reality includes other people. The real fear isn't failing. It's being seen before you're ready. The real fear isn't failing. It's being seen before you're ready. Potential feels safe. Because potential can't be criticized. Nobody can review what you haven't published. Nobody can reject what you haven't offered. Nobody can judge what you haven't attempted. So your mind keeps you in the most comfortable place, planning, researching, preparing. But preparation becomes a trap when it replaces action. Because there's a hidden reward in not starting. You never have to confront where you are. You never have to see your first draft. You never have to feel the discomfort of being a beginner. And that discomfort is the price of progress. Preparation feels productive until it becomes avoidance. Here's why starting is hard. Starting creates exposure. The moment you act, you become visible. And visibility triggers old survival instincts. Because deep down, many people learned being judged is dangerous. Getting it wrong is embarrassing. Attention equals risk. So they wait. They tell themselves they need more confidence, more clarity, more time. But confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes from action, from surviving small discomforts, from doing it imperfectly and realizing, I'm still okay. You don't gain confidence by thinking. You gain it by surviving action. There's an ancient idea that explains this perfectly. Your life is not defined by intentions. It's defined by choices. You don't become a writer by wanting to write. You become one by writing. You don't become disciplined by admiring discipline. You become disciplined by doing the hard thing consistently. Meaning comes after movement. Identity comes after action. And this is the harsh truth. The person you want to become is waiting on your behavior. Not your thoughts, not your plans, your behavior. Your future self is built by what you do while you're scared. Here's something you need to know. Most people are not thinking about you as much as you think. They're thinking about themselves, their own problems, their own insecurity, their own life. But your mind turns judgment into a spotlight. It imagines an audience. It imagines comments. It imagines rejection. And then it tries to protect you by saying, don't do it. But protection becomes prison when it blocks growth. So instead of asking, how do I avoid judgment? Ask, how do I become someone who can handle it? Because that's the real freedom. The goal isn't to avoid judgment. The goal is to outgrow it. Waiting has a cost, not a dramatic cost, a quiet one. Because the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. You don't just delay the goal, you delay your life. You delay the lessons. You delay the confidence. You delay the momentum. And then you tell yourself, it's too late now. But it's not too late. It just feels heavier because you've been carrying it mentally for so long. Ideas get heavier when they stay trapped in the mind. The longer you wait, the more your dream turns into a burden. Here's a practical shift. Stop asking, how do I do this perfectly? Ask, what's the smallest version I can do today? not the final masterpiece, the first brick, the first step, the first imperfect attempt. Because starting small isn't a compromise, it's the strategy. Small starts create momentum. Momentum creates identity. Identity creates consistency. Consistency creates results. Small starts are not small. They're the beginning of everything. Maybe you're not stuck because you lack talent. Maybe you're stuck because you're trying to start without being a beginner. But every strong person you admire was once awkward. Every confident creator was once cringe. Every disciplined person was once inconsistent. The difference is they kept going long enough to become someone new. So don't wait for fear to disappear. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a signal that something matters. Start while you're scared. Start while it's messy. Start while you're not sure. Because the life you want isn't on the other side of perfect. It's on the other side of beginning. Your life changes the moment you stop protecting your potential. And here's the part people rarely admit. A lot of the fear isn't about failing. It's about changing. Because if you start and you become good, your life has to adjust. Your relationships might adjust. Your identity definitely adjusts. And that's scary, because staying the same is painful, but it's familiar. Starting means stepping into a version of you that can't hide anymore. Sometimes we avoid starting because success would require a new identity. For many people, the real enemy is shame, not failure. Shame is the feeling that says, if I try and I'm not good, it means something about me. Not about my skill, not about my experience, but about my worth. So instead of allowing yourself to be a beginner, you avoid being seen at all. You'd rather be invisible than imperfect. And that's why you keep waiting for the perfect moment. Because the perfect moment is safe. The perfect moment is imaginary. And it protects you from the only thing you fear more than failure: being judged while you're still becoming. Shame doesn't say, you failed. It says, you are the failure. Here's a truth that changes everything. Your first version is supposed to be bad. Your first attempt is supposed to be messy. Your first draft is supposed to embarrass you a little. Because the purpose of the first version isn't to impress anyone. The purpose of the first version is to exist. It gives you something real to improve. An improvement only happens when something exists. You can't edit what you never create. You can't refine what you never release. You can't become skilled at something you refuse to touch. So your first version isn't proof that you're not good. It's proof that you started. Your first draft isn't your final verdict. It's your entry ticket.